And welcome back to Mr. Merkin's U.S. History class. Today's topic is the Roaring 20s. So we all know America started off kind of looking like this. These are the Puritans, if you don't remember, and they kind of instilled a Christian moral-based society in America. Now, 200 years later, the Puritans couldn't have seen what's coming. America is expanding, getting into world conflict, etc., etc. Big business is the norm of the land. Now, women and men by the 1920s are both going to work, which means for the first time in American history, United States families are living pretty comfortably. So people have money. And also, on top of that, all the soldiers are coming back from war having just kicked butt over in Europe. So America is really riding high in the 20s with all this money coming in and all this great patriotic feeling. So in the 1920s, you start seeing changes in American society. And it's because of this wealth and comfort we see coming up, we get all sorts of new cultural trends. For example, the big piece of technology that everyone had to have in their homes is the radio. All right. It's hard to find someone who didn't have a radio back then. Now, once people got the radio, they could entertain themselves. They didn't have to go to listen to a live band now. They could get it directly into their houses. So they could listen to the boxing match, sporting events, baseball games. They could listen to jazz. This guy appears Louis Armstrong, and he is pretty much the soundtrack of the 20s. Now, once we get into the Great Depression and President Franklin Roosevelt becomes president, we're going to start hearing things on the radio called fireside chats, and that's where the president will get on the radio and talk directly toward the people. You know how President Trump sends out his tweets today? Presidents used to have to just do it on the radio. All right, so technology was improving by the 1920s. The Great Depression is going to roll in, and people are going to want to start going to the movies. All right. By the 1930s, it's going to get hard to be alive, and we'll talk about that more in a later video. But a moving picture or a movie is what people would go see. The first movie to win the Best Picture Oscar was about World War I fighter pilots, and it was named Wings. It's a pretty intense movie for the 1920s. Also, people wanted to know what was going on in the world. Now, take a look. This is an example of a magazine cover. Now, today, if we want to catch up the latest trends, we follow the celebrity gossip on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, whatever everybody uses. Ladies had to use magazines back in the day. Women still read a lot back then. So they start seeing women who look like this. They have short hair, headbands, low-cut dresses, sparkly stuff. And we see the rise of more independent young women in society.